I'm just
You know,
basically
we're gonna
saying
pop
that
in
I grew up
Mondays. Y'all know
in
we go
relationships
hours
and
and so today we're gonna basically discuss how to maintain your village. Now, what we mean by village is, the people that you construct, the people that you're surrounded by, the people that are investing in your life and you're investing in their life on a daily basis. Not, the fly by nights, the people that, you see every so often. We're talking about the people that you actually keep in contact with daily. They know your daily whereabouts and you actually are growing a life together. Now, we want to discuss how to basically maintain your village. And there's multiple ways how to maintain your village, but we want to really touch on 4 points. We're not going to add the points all at once. We're going to talk about them one at a time. So to get us started, we're going to talk about what is our purpose in building together. So the first thing we want to establish when building a village is, what is the purpose? What is our purpose of building this village together? And what are the agreements that we decide that we want to uphold to maintain the structure of having these relationships? So what would you say, Jerry and Jazz, what would y'all say is, a purpose of building a village?
Well, you first have to you have to decide what your end goal is going to be and what type of relationship you want within the village. And is your purpose to go through life together? Is your purpose to raise kids together? So I think that you should establish that in the beginning so that you guys all have the same goal that you guys want to work toward together.
Definitely. Jazz, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I pretty much agree with Jerry. When you were talking, I was just essentially thinking about um why why I build why I'm in a village and like what is it that basically keeps me going, keeps me wanting to be in a village, and it's also just kind of like we go through life all the time, obviously with all different types of people, and it's like what type of people do you want to be around constantly? Because you can't escape it essentially. You know what I mean? Um, you can be even when you're by yourself, you're still gonna need some type of help from somebody. So essentially, it's thinking about how do I want to go through life? Who do I want to go through life with? Who do I want to build with?
Definitely.
It's just funny. Like I just did a video about, leave it up to yourself. You thinking about all types of things in your head, right? So you need other people to validate certain things, to cross-reference certain things, um to just even brainstorm with. And when you're thinking about things on your own, you don't really get that feedback. So you need feedback from other people. You need that buy-in from other people to make sure that you are everything that you say you want to be. And it's not that like, and when people hear that, they get all cringy and like, I don't, no one validates me and no one tells me what to do. But in the reality, we have people around that's gonna, it's like our counsel, like they're gonna guide us in the right direction based on the things that we want out of life. You know what I mean? It's not like what they think we want. Like I was, as I was walking, as I was walking home, I was just thinking like, I love smock dresses. Like I love the way they look on other women, but they're just not a good look for me. And you guys have confirmed that. You know what I mean? So without you, I'll be walking around with a dress that looks horrible on me. But with the right people around, you're gonna let me know, like, yeah, that you may like that, but you have to like that from afar. That's not something that you can pull off. You know what I mean? And it's really important to have when you're building those relationships with people, when you're building things with people, you have people that are going to be honest with you.
Definitely. Because I could easily fit into some slim jeans. And I got a big butt and tight bearing hips,
Yeah, yeah.
child bearing hips. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, y'all like,
We
nah,
can do it.
don't even do it, man. So, with thunder thighs and thick legs, you know, you gotta make sure that you keep a little bag in your jeans. At the same time, allow them to be form fitting, but you gotta make sure you have a little bag. But I mean, the main purpose of building togetherness is to establish a foundation. Like we always say, we build up. Nobody wants to build down. Nobody want to live in the dirt. Nobody want to live in the ground. We want to build up. So it establishes a foundation, and it establishes people to bounce ideas off of, people to go through life with. people that offset the struggles in life. Where you're not strong, people are where you are weak. I mean, people are strong in those areas, and they help you guide. So like I would say, my purpose of building a village together and to maintain a village takes understanding that you have to have people around you that are working towards the same direction, and they're all about building up, and they're all about making sure and ensuring that everybody is having the best quality of life. Like, we all have people around us or people in our lives or coworkers, however it is, that just complain a lot. You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God, yes.
And I'm one of them people that I really do not like. I really don't like complainers. So though I might solve problems, I might be a problem solver, I might assist them from afar or assist them while I'm in their space. I'm not gonna add them to my village because I'm gonna be working overtime. I don't see the point in the give and take. So the whole point in building a village is to maximize on our joy, problem solve our struggles so they're not struggles anymore, and make sure that we wake up every day with a purpose to maintain, meaning to maintain our joys and to maintain our happiness and to really assure that each other is chasing the goals that we want to accomplish. I mean, when we look at purpose, we sit down, we're talking to somebody, and it's as simple as me and Jerry sitting down at the table, we're having a discussion. Her ultimate goal is to move out of New York, let's say. And my ultimate goal is to build in New York. Right then and there, our purpose isn't the same. So the
Mhm.
outcome, no matter how much we enjoy each other's company, the outcome is going to be distance. Now, so many people say, it's okay, we can be, friends from afar and we can build from afar. But the reality is, when we need instant support, that person's not going to be there. They're a phone call away, yes, but they're not going to be there physically. And we're not working towards the same goals or similar outcomes in life. So, like, we can be family members. You know what I mean? We can check in, make sure each other is staying on track with their goals. But when we talking about a village, we're talking about, being there, present, helping each other raise children, helping each other, go through sicknesses, helping each other, really being there to fully support each other in any area we need to support each other. And we're already done with like the personal goals, or where we have similar goals that will help us personally. You know what I mean?
Well, is
The
it
group
truly
will
being,
strengthen us personally.
it's just truly being invested in each other's lives. Like
Definitely.
when to your point, there was a time in my life when I thought that, having a long distance relationship would be okay, right? Because why would I need anybody my day to day? But what you fail to realize is the people that you are living in your day to day are the ones that are really totally vested in your life, right? And it's like, and when you have someone that's something important, not saying that they can't support you, but it's a different level of support. So when you have people that are in your immediate area, it's the easy phone call away, like, hey, could you pick up so and so? We're doing like we're making like plans together. Like what are we doing over the weekend? Like we don't have to like take off for work, and like it's easier for us to get together when we're all in the same place. And you don't really realize that when people move far away, you think, well, your phone call away, I can call and vent, and we can obviously give advice to each other from afar, but nothing's like having that person that is in the same city as you that can give that level of support. And that's priceless. And we take that for granted because a lot of times that we have friends that are living in the same state that we don't, that are not as ingrained in our life. So we kind of look at it like, well, what's the big deal? You moving to Georgia is not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's about narrowing your focus. Like a person, like, I might get asked for, to be promoted at work or something. And people always ask you, like, why do you have to consult with your friends? I understand your spouse. I even understand your kids, but why you got to consult with your friends? Because with my friends, I had a certain amount of time that I set aside for them that this promotion might take away from. And that's going to affect our relationship. And one thing I know is I prioritize my relationships ahead of everything else. Because when all the money is gone, or when they're done, they're done with my services and they want to, fire me, or the job can't, they can't, they might, we just went through COVID. They might be laying people off, and I might have a high salary and they might have to lay me off to make ends meet. Who's there? My friends, my spouse, my kids, you know what I mean? So like I make sure I keep the foundation what it is, the purpose what it is. First thing, first and foremost, you know, my principles come first, obviously. That's how I select the people in my life. And then it's the people in my life. So when we now look at it, I'm like my priority and my equity has to do with my friendships, has to do with my relationship. So the purpose is what are we doing together? So before I now accept a promotion at work, I'm now going to make sure that everybody's okay with me not being as present or me not being as available before I take that promotion because the time is more valuable than the money. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to waste time actually spending time at work when I could be spending time with the people I love. Because when it's all said and done, those are the people, you know, that's what life is going to be about. That's what I'm going to be judged on, how I treat the people around me.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Something that you said struck a thought because, it's interesting how people do say like, they're only your friends, why do you have to consult with them? And, they don't really see the full picture. But, when we were younger and we had those close relationships and somebody was moving away from us, and this obviously was out of their control, whether they were going to a different high school or a different school, whatever. And that emotion that we felt and that desire and they felt the same emotion, like where they wish they didn't have to move.
Definitely.
A lot of people don't create those relationships as adults.
I agree.
They would feel that same, they would have the same desire that what we're talking about right now. You know what I mean? Like wanting to check through, because if we had the choice when we were younger, we would be consulting with each other because we had that type of relationship. We were in each other's day to day and da da da. And just as adults, we kind of lose that. We don't put as much effort and equity in those type of relationships until a lot of times we're down and out and we're like, oh, well, we don't have anybody.
Definitely. Well, we lose it because we're taught that those relationships are childish. That's like, like, so like it's, my dad used to tell me forever, like your friends, they're not going to be here forever, but your family, like that whole spiel. And, you, and yeah, you realize that your friends are the people that you actually pick and your family are the people that you don't pick. So you make a decision as you get older if you want to continue a relationship with your family, but your friends, the people that you have around are the people that you handpicked yourself based on who you are, what you want out of life, what your beliefs are, and those are the people that you're building with. And we're taught from a very young age that you're childish to love your best friend or to want to consult with your best friend or always hang out with your best friend.
Once you get married or
wait till you get married, your friends are not going to be there. Wait till you have children. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be, wait, you can't wait to have children so your friends can help you raise them. And you can't wait to get married because the person that you married is so amazing that they're going to fit right in with your friends. And, like, those are the things that we should be encouraging. But instead, we were taught the total opposite and then realized, like, wait a minute, they kind of had it wrong. Not kind of, they had it wrong. You know what I mean? And we decided that we wanted something different out of our friendships, which is why we have the friendship that we have, the friendship that we have. But yeah, it's like they stole the innocence from us because they believe that friends will come and go. And yeah, that's the joy of friends, right? Like we all have choice. I don't have to be friends with you. I want to be friends with you. Yeah. I show up every day because I want to show up for you. You're not forcing me. It's not out of obligation. I'm not guilted into coming to be a part of your life. It's the life that I want to be a part of. And it's okay and that's why it's really important that we, Aziz and I, are doing what we're doing, and Jasmine helps out as well. But to show that, friendships are more than what we were taught as from my parents. And they are really the people that's going to go through life with you. They're going to really be the rock in our lives. So we should really choose them wisely and make sure that we really nurture our friendships.
Definitely. I agree 100%. I mean, we get those conflicting ideals. It's like family's going to be there, but make sure you support your community. So it's a conflicting ideal because if the family's not really doing their best to uphold the standard of the community, then what do we choose? The family or the community? You know what I mean? Yeah. And now we look at a village as our subculture. If we started out all as friends and we built a strong bond as friends, ultimately our spouses should enter our friendships, right? That's the foundation, right? Like we always say, friendships are the foundation of all our relationships. If we are not friends with our spouse, there's no point in having a long-term relationship with them. You know what I mean? You first establish that friendship, and then you realize you have a romantic component to it, and then you build into a spouse, and then you start raising children, and that's how it should go in the cycle. But your friends should, and everybody's like, I shouldn't have to ask my friends, but your friends are gonna be the ones that actually give you the, the insight on whether you should go forward with this person or not, whether this person fits your group or not, because you don't want turmoil within your village, and you already have a strong foundation, and you already have people that you already invested and told that you would invest a long-term life with. You know what I'm saying? So once you have that investment, you need to maintain it. So anybody that comes in new, they have to understand that these are the foundation of the relationships you have, and at the same time, you incorporate the people that they may bring. So it's bigger than just the individual. It's incorporating both groups. As you meet people, it's incorporating other people. And that's where it gets tricky. But it's all about maintaining the standard of the village. So now it's like, what is your purpose in building the village? The purpose of building the village is to continue to build on the standards and the foundations of which you set out to build, and to make sure you have a constant presence in each other's lives, and you constantly have a purpose to move through life and bring each other joy and solve problems as a team, right? Which
Yeah,
brings us to our next one.
next point. Yeah.
Next point, you know, when you're maintaining your village, you definitely want to disregard your ego and focus on progress and a plan. So, what do we mean by disregard ego? In a while, like maybe two webinars ago, we cleared up the fact that we used to always say, forget your emotions, but really we're talking about ego. So when a person believes their emotion supersedes everybody else's emotion, that's the person's emotions everybody says we have to take into account.
Mhm.
Not knowing that if there's four people in a room, all four people have emotions. So how could we get to where we want to go? We have to offset the egos, which is saying me, my individuality, me, my how I feel, and look at the big picture. See where we're trying to go. Establish progress, establish a plan. So no matter what we're doing, we can be putting together a barbecue. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to have a barbecue, but we don't know the destination. We can't pick the destination off of somebody's feeling. We got to pick the destinations on the destination over what's more convenient for the group, for the whole. It might be out of one person's way a little more than the other person's way, but it might be more convenient because when we get to that place, it has everything we need, a bathroom, you know, it might have a beach nearby, might have, activities nearby. So we might choose to go out of our way to actually have more amenities and more things that we can do that, during the barbecue, right? So we have to all sit down and come to agreement. And if we allowing our emotions slash ego to dictate the discussion, we will get nowhere. But if we're focused on the plan is to have a barbecue. And as we starting to plan this barbecue, we're now making a list of everything we would need. And now we make the list of everything we would need. And then we start checking off the list and see what place has all these things that we need. And then we go into the want list. What has most of the things we will want? And then as we're checking them off, we're splashing out different places because they don't have the needs or the wants. And then we end up on one place. Now, one person may feel away or two people may feel away, but as a team, we came up with this list of wants and needs, right? So the system dictated what we're going to do. And who created the system? Us as a group. So we got to keep the focus. And we have to make sure that we keep progress in the plan. You get what I'm saying? We can't offset everybody's emotions and how they're going to feel about what's going to go on or their ego. We have to focus on what we're trying to accomplish. Because when it's all said and done, if we planned it, we actually executed it, we're probably going to have the best barbecue possible. And everybody who felt the way or everybody's ego who was at a high level at one point, once they're in the barbecue having a good time, chopping it up, having fun, they now realize why it was important to stick to the plan. So,
Yeah, when you're dealing with other people, it's really important to know who, like, what you bring to the table, and where you're strong and where someone else may be stronger. So you take you lead in certain areas and you take a step back in other areas. And you need to know that you wouldn't be a part of any group if you didn't bring something to the table. Like, every relationship is give and take. Like, no one's just gonna allow you to come and suck the air out the room, and no one's gonna well, there are people that's just gonna allow you to lead. But the point is that, when you join a group, it's really because you're bringing something to the team that somebody else may not necessarily bring, and it's really important to actually acknowledge that and understand that. Like, it's just the other day I was in Aziz's kitchen and I'm looking around in the fridge and I'm like, wow, there's no dairy in here. There's no, like, I didn't even realize how much of a big influence I've been on the way he's been eating. You know what I mean? It's not even something that we necessarily talk about, but there has been like a shift, right? And I'm not even and it happened over time, but I'm like, wow, like I could be sitting back thinking like I don't bring anything to the table, but I open the fridge and it's like, before, when I would come down, I used to have to come down my own groceries. Like, I'm going to the store to pick up things that I can eat, and now that's not even the case anymore, because where they they realize that a lot of the things that I'm eating is makes sense, and now they convert it over, and I am an influence. You know what I mean? Like, we all an influence in our relationships. We just have to know when we're better when we're better at things at times and when we're not, and be able to take that step back and not allow our feelings and our emotions to dictate when we should puff our chest out, when we should be taking a back seat.
Definitely. I mean, and the reality of the example you just used, the reality of it is I wanted to eat with you. I got tired of you eating separate. I'm eating separate. And I'm like, I can give up. And it's not even a sacrifice. It's something that you look at and you're like, do I really need this? We try it. It tastes fine. It's okay. It's okay to supplement non-dairy products into our meals and things of that nature where you can actually eat them and we're still enjoying them. Why not? You know what I'm saying? So it was really motivated by my love for you. It was really motivated by the fact that, I it's not just my love for you, but it's also I wanted something too. I'd rather us sit at the table together, enjoying the same food, having the same textures, talking about the same meal, and actually being able to have dialogue and connect on that versus you're eating something separate over there. I'm eating something separate over there. It's the smallest food that separates us. And we got to see it. Like, it's as small as that, but we can't even have dialogue about the taste of it. I could ask you how it tastes, but I don't know how it tastes.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask me how mine's tastes, but you don't know how it tastes. So now what we do is now we're tasting the same thing. It does bring a sense of spirituality to it. And something as small as food, I wasn't willing to forfeit my spiritual connection with you to now just eat extra dairy products. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth it. So it wasn't even just the fact that I changed because of a diet, or I changed because of a spiritual desire to make sure I remain close to you. So that's where all of that gets established. Like, I'm willing to agree to do something greater if it's going to benefit our connection. Because
Well, that goes back to focus on the progress and the plan, and
definitely,
if the first thing, if you are really focused on our connection, then of course that's going to be the first thing that you do, and that's what helped you, stay motivated, or to make, the certain tweaks and certain things, because you realize that that was something that you didn't want to, not that we were losing it, but that's something, well, I guess essentially we were, right? Like you said, like we weren't eating the same things, but that was a connection that we still wanted to hold on to.
definitely.
I think just in that example alone, even shows something bigger is the fact that, you were eating what we would consider healthier, right? And so that he wants to change in that regard, it just shows the type of people that you have around you. Because now, if you're a person who's eating a whole bunch of junk, now essentially in his life he devalued in that sense. You know what I mean? And so just kind of unconsciously by choosing certain company, positive company, your life automatically increases and it automatically improves.
Definitely.
And on what you were saying about spirituality. So it's like you are eating better now, and it was just through merely like wanting to connect and with someone who was doing something positive.
Definitely. I mean, and it's all about having like minds and same hearts, right? So the fact that I could have just felt judged every time she came around. You know,
Right.
it's just
Yeah,
having that
exactly.
same
Yeah. Hmm.
mentality. Like I
I
don't
was gonna
like
say this.
I embrace judgment. Like we had our discussion 2 weeks ago about embracing judgment. Like I embrace judgment. Like I like the fact that you're gonna judge me harshly if you feel like I'm putting trash in my body. I like the fact you're gonna judge me harshly if if I'm out there doing something that's outside of our agreement, outside of what we say we believe in as a unit, something that's gonna affect the relationship. Like we both know preserving the relationship is more important than preserving the individual because the relationship should take care of every individual involved, right? So if you have a great relationship, it takes care of everybody involved. So you don't have to worry about your individuality. So I like being judged harsh. So at the end of the day, if I didn't embrace that, yeah, I'd have felt as soon as you come around, like I might have created distance. So I might have, oh, let me act like I'm eating X, Y, and Z when she's around, but then I'm sneaking snacks when you go home and things of that nature. No, we're able to have a dialogue and we're able to like you're basically challenging me all the time. Like, why are you eating this? Why are you eating this? Why are you eating this? What is it doing for you? As you get older, is that benefiting you? Like you already had your run
Mhm.
with a couple of goodies. Like it's getting that time where you have to learn and educate yourself and eat better. You know what I mean? In the same way, on a spiritual level, on a principle level, I'm strong. I expect people, and when they're strong in something, to challenge my lifestyle. You know what I mean? But you have to have like minds that really embrace it and enjoy it, and not feel like they're on a treadmill every time they're around that person. You know what I mean? You got a trainer that's helping you get in shape, and you regret going to, or you regret you're upset when you go to train all the time, or you're waking up and you're like, oh my God, I'm dreading to go to training instead of looking motivated going to go to training because you know there's somebody there that's gonna push you to be your best, and you chase that good feeling afterwards. You don't
So
feel
that's
good in the
it.
morning,
Yeah.
but you feel good afterwards. So you're chasing the right thing. You're chasing everything that's positive. You know what I mean? When you get to the top of the when you get to the top of the building, you're at the rooftop, you get to see the world from a different view. You're chasing that thing, you're chasing that view. So as a unit, you keep the plan, and you don't always focus on the individual or how they're feeling. You're focused on what's our plan, what's our goal to maintain our village. And how can we maintain our village? We establish our principles, which is our foundation, which is our purpose. And then anything that goes outside of that purpose or that principle, we can't entertain, whether it's eating right, whether it's sleeping with several partners, whether it's drinking substances, whether it's like ingesting substances, whether it's whatever it is, right? You should be able to come up and say, listen, I have to hold you accountable. That's a part of the principle. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a part of the principle.
Well, that goes to the third point.
Definitely,
The importance of honest discussions and holding people accountable.
definitely. That does segue into that. Like you have to, like, if you have to think about whether you should say something to a person or whether you want to say something to a person, your relationships are unhealthy. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you have to, like the fact that you turn on every channel, every TV show, you're on every, you're on YouTube and you always hear people say, you care more when you take the time to really think about how it's going to affect another human being. Really, you have a clear understanding of who you're dealing with, who the people who are around you. I understand how that works for like your fellow neighbor, how it works with, walking down the street, getting on a crowded train, being in the crowd, being at work with people that you really don't fully understand. You don't know their habits all the time. So, you have to understand being cordial. When it comes to your friends and your spouse, like, why can't you have honest, hard discussion? If I smelled, my mother told me to go take a bath. There was no worrying about how I felt and worried about how I'm taking it in and worried about how she's going to handle it. No, she understood there was a principle and I understood she was in my best interest. And that's the bottom line. How she said it's how she said it. You get what I'm saying? So we have to be able to have honest discussions to hold each other accountable. I
Well, yeah, I
mean,
mean, it also goes back to like being around people that you don't think have any ill intentions. Because if you wholeheartedly believe that, then yeah, the things that they may tell you may sting, but you should be able to take it for what it is and make the necessary adjustments, right? But if you don't think that, if you subconsciously don't believe that the person has your best interest, or you're leading with your insecurity, then that never, ever, ever, ever goes well. So it's one of those things where you have to understand who you're dealing with, or just, do you believe in honesty? Like, that's the first thing. Is honesty a belief? If honesty is a belief, then you should be able to take in when someone's being honest with you, even if it's something that you don't want to hear, right? And work through it, because it's not always easy. It doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always sound good. It's not always something you want to deal with at the time. But if you believe it, you push past it, right? And if it's not something that you believe in, then of course you're gonna have a hard time with hearing things that you don't really truly want to hear. Want people to tiptoe around you. You tiptoeing around other people. You believe there's time and place. You believe that some things are just better not said. And then let us know how that really truly works out for your relationships, because it's not really the healthiest way to really truly interact with people. I'm not saying that you guys won't survive. I'm not saying that you guys won't connect, because you probably will. But what are you really truly connecting on if somebody can't be honest? Because guess what? Honesty comes out in so many different ways. It may not be in your face, but when somebody is having a hard time being honest with you, it's going to come out through their actions. It's going to come out through anger. It's going to come out in another way where then you're going to really be forced to deal with it.
I'm probably more upset than you would be if they actually had a conversation about
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
You kind of feel betrayed, you know?
Yeah, like you wait till now to tell me this.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, it's funny because you're like, you wait till now for you to tell me this, but I never encouraged you to, like, that was something that I never really wanted. I never really encouraged you to be honest any other time anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
needed
yeah.
too.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to pick and
how a
choose.
person's honest,
Yeah,
with you, but at the same time, you want honesty. Something's got to give.
yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And I can guarantee you the person not saying anything is that's what's gonna get. Because if a person wants to truly maintain the discussion or maintain a relationship, they're not gonna have the discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, if I just keep my mouth shut, don't say anything, I can maintain the relationship. We can still have a good time. We still can coexist. We still can be one big happy family, while everything inside me is saying the opposite. You know what I mean? Like you just let your friend go. Like you wait for like you see so many people waiting for everything to get to its peak before they're saying something. Or a stranger says something to that person, and they're like, do I do this? And everybody gets quiet. And you're like, wait up, nobody told me. So they allowed it to go on for years, and all these other people have had these negative opinions about them, but yet their quote unquote friends allowed this all to go on. Why? Because they didn't establish a relationship through honesty. When you're having honest discussions, and the importance of honest discussions is this: why are they telling me this? Anybody that's in my best interest is telling me this not to hurt my feelings, even though my feelings get hurt.
Yeah,
Not to hurt my feelings, they're telling me this to advance me. If I'm now taking every honest discussion with the idea that they're saying this to advance me, not saying that they're right, because honesty just means that they're telling you what they believe. Right? Straight.
that's really important. Say that again.
Honesty is just saying what they believe is so. It doesn't mean it's so. It just means that you're having an honest dialogue with, this is what I believe about you. Then you give a person time to defend themselves or understand where you're coming from or accept it. However it goes, then now it's your turn to now respond to that type of honesty. Whether you're talking about a different person, whether you're talking about your political beliefs, whether you're talking anything you're discussing, it starts with having an honest discussion about what you truly believe. So you start the discussion off with something you truly believe. So you ask yourself, why is this person saying this to me? What is this person trying to accomplish? Right? Who is this person in my life? You know what I mean? Is what they're saying bringing value to my life? All those questions need to be asked in your mind while the discussion is going off to offset all the emotion, because what the emotion is telling you is, I'm hurt and I'm gonna shut down. I'm gonna hurt, I'm gonna get defensive. I'm gonna hurt, I'm gonna push this person further away. When the person actually being honest with you is trying to bring you closer to them. They're saying there's a problem, or they're saying something positive about you that's honest, because we have so many people that have a hard time, taking in
Compliments. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jerry used to be one of them. Every time we call him in, she tells us, oh, well, I didn't know. And then she points out 27 different ways that it wasn't what it is. And I'm like, accept the compliment. Like, I never lied to you. I've been honest with you. Like, you could accept when I'm being raw with you about something negative. So when I say you look nice or beautiful today, don't act like you woke up like that. Like, you
Beautiful.
know, you put in the effort. You know that you look nice.
But it sounds so weird. Like when Aziz, I'm like, you trying to play me right now? Like, come on. Like,
This is what I'm saying. And it does come off like you never hear it. But 75% of what I'm talking about is positive. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
About that.
But the way that
And
we so,
then when the negatives, it's like your whole heart just drops and you can see it in your face. And I'm like, this is all you see at this point. You're not factoring in who the person is and all the positivity that they bring to your life. All you see now is they see me this way. No, they're pointing out that because they want you to be the best you can be, not just average shell of yourself. No, the best shell of yourself. But you have to have honest discussions to get there, positive and negative, because there's so many people that seeing people win and don't want to encourage them. Well, she knows she's beautiful. She knows she's smart. She knows she's a person that's a go getter. She always gets what she wants anyway. Well, tell her she's amazing for doing it.
yeah.
Tell him he's amazing for doing it. Honesty just don't go on a negative end. Honesty also is reinforcing the positive, the positivity people bring to your life and the positivity people bring to the world. Tell them they're exceptional in things. Like, but you have to be able to have honest discussion and hold people accountable. And holding people accountable starts with holding yourself accountable by saying, how much negative am I pointing out over positive? Because the positives should triple the negative, right? But if we're
Yeah.
honest, we're perfectionists, right? When we're around our friends, we want everything the best. So we do point out the negatives because we want to keep a great environment, right?
But yeah, and well, that also takes a level of vulnerability as well. And just, being able to say like, wow, like, I know that your intention wasn't to hurt my feelings, but my feelings are hurt right now. Or like you said, just the whole compliments. Like I myself used to have an issue with accepting compliments, which is why I didn't really give many because I knew how uncomfortable it made me. So I kind of used to keep things to myself, but not realizing that, like I should be able to receive and accept them,
Accept them.
accept them, accept them. Um, and that shouldn't be an issue. It should be an area that I should be comfortable in. Or even like me and Jasmine yesterday, like I was over at the house, she was going to the park with the baby, and I usually have the baby on Sundays, and she asked me, "Was I going?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have him," and I made it seem like it was a job, right? But when I met her at the park, I said to her, "What I really should have told you was I want to hang out with you guys. It's not a job. Like I want to be here," and that took a level of vulnerability instead of making it seem like I'm supposed to be like it's my day to it's my day to hang out with him, so I should be there for that. But whether it was my day or not, I still wanted to hang out with them. And I had to, as I met them at the park, I was reflecting on the conversation. I was like, wow, that kind of, and she didn't even realize it, right? You kind of like took it because that's how I speak, right? In
Yeah, I
some
was
areas,
like,
yeah, like yeah, and it didn't come off nasty. It was just like, yeah, it was my day. Like, why? It's like, yeah, I'm coming because I'm supposed to come, but it's really because I
I
want
looked
to.
at it like, all right, like even though you were supposed to have them, it was just kind of like, I don't mind coming. Like one of those. Not like I want to come, but just like I don't mind coming.
Yeah, but I wanted to come. You know what I mean? Which is a big difference, and takes a level of vulnerability to explain that. Like, hey, like I want to be there. Not that it's my day, so I'm supposed to be at the park. I shouldn't just be chilling. You know what I mean? So yeah, even within our friendships and even in our relationships, like I have to be honest with myself so that I can be honest with you guys and be vulnerable in moments and really tell you what I truly believe instead of holding things back or making it seem like things are one way when they're not.
And the
And
reality
that's
is
minor
like
compared to other things, but it's those little things that create bad habits and bad ways of how we communicate.
definitely. I mean, when I'm looking at the whole understanding, it's about accountability, right? And having an honest dialogue. Like
Hmm.
Jasmine's so used to it.
Hmm.
And that reality, like when it's woman on woman, nobody really wants a cat fight, right?
Hmm.
So the reality is she lets you get a pass because the fact that she's used to you saying it like that.
Hmm.
Me and you would have had a back and forth because I'm holding you accountable. Like the fact that I see you as a person that everything is a job or a duty or like, well, it's my time. So like you don't want to hang out, like we're friends. Why at any point do you not want to hang out with me? Or why at any point do you, feel a way about when it comes to hanging out with me? Why is everything a job? Or why, spending time with your godson is a job? But Jasmine's so used to it. That just shows, when we're looking at it from this angle, right? It just shows how much y'all don't hold each other accountable in certain instances because she
But
just got
it also
accustomed to
shows that my bad habits are the way I communicate things too, because it's not a job. It's just the way that I have a issue and sometimes being vulnerable in certain areas. So that's the way that it comes off.
it. Definitely. But she still didn't hold
But
you accountable.
she still didn't address it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. She let you come to your own determination. And that's what I'm saying. Like, she got so used to it, she doesn't even see it. It's not saying that she wouldn't, because we do have honest dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she got so used to it, she's like, well, that's just the way Jerry, but it's not okay. Like, say what you mean what you say. If you know that you have a hard time being vulnerable when it comes to emotional states of being, like saying, I want to hang out with you and I want to spend
Mm-hmm.
time with you, then that's what she should be pushing you.
Mm-hmm.
She shouldn't settle for, well, that's just how Jerry talk. No, it's not a positive. It's okay for her to, like, you should want to hear she wants to spend time with me. Like, that's something that you as a person should want to hear. You know what I mean? So right now we're having an honest dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's an honest dialogue. Like, what is your worth? So now I'll look at Jazz and I'm like, what's your worth? Because when you know your worth, you hear things clear. Like, do you want to hang out with me? Like, you hear it clear. So you now challenge people to clarify it versus assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
that might be how she means it. No, I want to know.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, when we were having a conversation, I did express that it definitely didn't come off that way. It was just kind of like, oh, like I was kind of taken back, like, oh, okay, you went to hang out, cool. But I think for me too, it's also what I had in my mind. Like in my mind, it's Father's Day. You're gonna do your own thing. So I automatically, in a way, I kind of forgot it was Sunday. It was just kind of like for Mother's
An
Day.
extended Saturday, kind of like,
Yeah, yeah.
and you having the day off, and yeah,
Yes.
I understood why you did what you did.
Yeah, it was like there was no, it wasn't like the usual schedule of Jerry spending time with Aziz, and we were just kind of like, whatever we do, we're gonna do it, So um it was more also me thinking like, well, this is like a regular day. In my mind, it's like another Tuesday or something that I would usually have them. So if you have something to do, go ahead and do it. I got it. Don't worry about it, because it's not the same type of day that it would be any other time.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
I
cute.
kind of
That sounds cute. That sounds cute. But if it would have been me, you would have held me accountable. It sounds all cute, but I always tell you, when you know that you're full of it, is when you can insert another person. Like, oh, it's just another day, but you can insert another person and you would have realized it. So that's all what I'm saying. You take the crumbs from Jerry, right? And you expect me to show up because I'm always showing up.
Yeah, I mean, I have to.
So you take it for granted. You're taking it for granted. So the reality is, I'm gonna hold you accountable. Like, it wasn't, oh, it's just like another Tuesday. No, it's not. Because if it would have been another person that you actually have an expectation for and that actually is consistent, you would have held them accountable. It wouldn't have just been another
I mean,
day.
you're right.
You would have been
think
very focused on the facts.
Yeah, I think I have to. I mean, moving forward, I think what I'm going to start doing is doing that, switching out. Like if this was this person, what I mean, I actually did that for Father's Day, an instance that wouldn't really cause anyone trauma, but
trauma though. That's a little extreme.
conflict. But I don't do it enough, so I think that's something that I'm going to do moving forward.
Yeah, that's definitely a practice. But everybody just got an example of having an honest discussion and being clear on your terms and making sure that you're holding people accountable. And our last point that we're gonna make about maintaining your village and how to maintain your village is, discuss death to preserve life. So when you look at death, it's a reality. Everybody hides from discussing it. Everybody hides from talking about it. But it's a reality, and it's a reality we can't control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying is, if you know that your time on earth is limited and you want to impact people's lives as effectively as possible, you keep that in mind in the forefront of your brain, where you're mindful of the fact that you have a certain time on earth and you persevere through all your hardships, because you know you do not want to end up leaving this earth just worrying about all your hardships or being ingrained in your hardships or focusing on the problems and staying in the problems. You want to actually spend time with the people you love. The first thing you have to do is get out the hard discussion. You know, what are we going to do if each other's not here anymore? How we feel? Do we really truly feel like we're giving our all and we can live and die without regret? Like we could really still persevere through this life without each other because we know we gave our all. Because the honest to God is the people who know they gave their all when it comes to death, yeah, they hit hard, but they tend to get through it a lot quicker because they understood that they gave everything they had. The people that leave this earth or somebody else left this earth and they still have regrets and they still have time they could have spent or put into that person's lives and they're not living the best they can for that person, yeah, they're gonna have all that regret and all that hardship. They tend to have the hardest time getting over it, even though they might have spent the least amount of time with the person. So if we're unafraid to talk about, leaving this earth, then how can we truly live the best we're gonna live, knowing that that's a reality? You know, we overcome all our fears. We stop feeling like we're trapped. If you're trapped in a relationship, you know, think about it. Do I want to die feeling trapped in this relationship? You're going to have to make decisions. The whole relationship, the whole village is going to have to make decisions. But to maintain a village, we got to say, am I willing to die to do this? Am I willing to die to maintain this standard of living? Am I living the best life I can? Because we're looking at death to persevere in life, to benefit life. And if the answer is still always yes, then you're motivated every time you open your eyes to make sure that you're putting in and investing in the most you can into that the life you have. You know what I mean? And into relationships you have, into the village you have.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, just being, revving up our ramping up our activity, right? Because we want to be in really good shape so that we can move around as long as possible and be as, healthy as long as possible and make those decisions. Like I was telling Aziz, I was like, I always said that I like being a size 12 and I want to be a certain weight because I like the way I look at my clothes and they attract the men that I like, right? But when you really think about it, like if I maintain that weight, then as you get older, you start to gain extra weight. And then, like I should probably at the end be the weight that my ideal weight. And it's just like little things like that that you don't really think about or talk about because you're living in the moment. You're not really thinking about the future. But, having our kids like trying to get me from point A to B to C to D, and I'm really heavy, or I'm so heavy that I can't really walk around or, bend over or bend over to tie my shoe.
Well,
Bend
I mean,
over.
either way, it's all activity. You want to be able to do that too.
Yeah, that as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I want to be able to be as flexible and do things that are very comfortable. And in order to do that, we have to make changes. And we have to, ramp up our activities, start to, we've been eating very casually here. Like it's not our
Pandemic.
mind, huh?
Said the pandemic.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're mindful of what we're eating, but we still are looser than we've ever been. I know, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that, just having that in the back of our minds that I'm not a spring chicken, you know what I mean? I'm getting older and, it's not as easy to lose weight anymore and it's not as easy to get moving. It's not as easy to even be motivated to even be active. So, those are the things that you think about because we want to live the best lives that we could possibly live physically, mentally, spiritually. In order to do that, we have to make sure that we'll keep in the back of our head that we're not going to be here forever. And it's not like we have this cloud over our heads reminding us like we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die. But the reality is we're going to die one day. And we want to make sure that we can get the best out of life. And that takes knowing, being able to discuss that reality with each other, with our children, and not like mommy's gonna die one day. But you also, my daughter's a teenager at this point. So I'm hoping that she would never have to bury me. Well, she would have to bury me, I wouldn't have to bury her. But I wouldn't want her to have to bury me prematurely. And that's that's what it is, and those are the conversations that we have because it is the reality.
Definitely. I mean, even having those discussions with your children prepares them for, all they, the amount of years they really have with you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, cherish the years you have, enjoy the years, and not on a guilt trip, but
I was just gonna say
on a
that because you
reality.
want to. Yeah.
Cherish the years, yeah, cherish the years you have, and really make conscious decisions. We always talk about preparing our children to make informed decisions. Well, that's also an informed decision. If you go away to school, you're not calling every 5 seconds, or you're not checking in, and something happens, you gotta live with that. But be mindful of the fact that I'm making a conscious decision not to check in, and I want to do what I'm doing now. So if something happens, I am making conscious decisions. So it's the same. Go ahead,
No,
Jazz.
I was saying, but I think also just to bring it back to the friendship point, and to kind of touch on a little bit what Jerry said, it's yeah, we're making the we all want to live an optimal life, right? From beginning to end, but it's also when it comes to friendship and building the friendships and strengthening our friendships, these are the same people that are gonna be around to help us in our age. So, Jerry breaks a hip. You know what I mean? She needs to be in the best shape she can. That's gonna make things easier for the people who are gonna take care of her.
Mhm.
I mean, she can't be over here 300 pounds, broken hip.
Whoa, 300 pounds though.
Well, that's a good amount of weight. That's just like who can be pushing
Yeah.
down. You know what I mean? So it just makes you think in a wider
Yeah, it's big. It's
on
bigger
a
than
broader
you.
spectrum.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's this life is bigger than yourself, and yes, we would want you
Love
to
is a group journey.
yeah, we want you to be a size 10 because you want to be size 10, but also be size 10 because you don't want us to suffer too. I mean, we're already suffering emotionally caring for you, but it's also the things that we want to do to support you, and then you'd be making it harder if you lived carelessly.
Hmm.
Oh, that's also something to think about.
So that's definitely the truth. And overall, to sum it up, is to talk about and discuss death means that you're just being proactive. Your understanding is telling people that you're understanding that this life, you have a spiritual life that you're passing on to the next generation. And at some point, you're physically not going to be here anymore. So you're being proactive by letting people know to suck in everything you have and take everything from me while I'm here, so you can pass it on. And you have to make sure you maintain it. And I agree with you 100%. We always talk about, I just put up one of our messages on the moves about loyalty, and how people don't believe loyalty is proactive. It's like, before you commit the act, if you commit the act and it's going to affect your relationship, you're the disloyal one, not the person who had to make the decision to walk away. But we
Yeah.
tend to think the person that's walking away, oh, now I'm in this bad situation and you walking away. No, you put yourself in a bad situation without consulting me. So I'm not going down with you. I'm not going downstairs with you. Like, you made that choice. So people need to start looking at loyalty as a boomerang. It's two-sided. So you don't make the decisions, or you don't make choices, back to what Jazz was saying, when it comes to death and when it comes to approaching older age, what Jerry was saying. You live proactively to say, if I'm not gonna do it for me, there's people greater than myself that I'm going to do it for, to make sure that I live the optimal life that I can. So they're not looking at me and being like, yo, we're gonna go for a run, but Jerry, you can stay on the couch. Or Jasmine, I guess you can't come. Or we're gonna go for a nice walk or a nice breeze, and we gotta always consider this person that's gonna hold us back. Instead,
Who
we
by
push
the
each
way, who
other.
made a choice
Yeah, who made a choice.
to, to not better themselves. It's not like
Definitely.
something happened, out of the control. It's I decided to sit on my couch and eat snacks and day in, day out, gain weight, gain weight, gain weight.
Or I made a choice to just be reckless and
Right.
not really look at the big picture, because we all like we're not going to sit there and say we all don't have vices, but be conscious.
Yeah.
Be conscious. If you're gonna adapt the vice, you already know the people in your life that's not with it. So you already know you just push them further away. Stop pretending like they should accept you for whatever choices you make. That's not how that works. The choices you make affect other people. The choices you make force other people to make choices. So understand, everybody is leaning towards and walking towards death. So nobody wants to waste their time picking up choices or putting in the choices that they didn't choose. So overall, we're saying how you maintain your village, to sum it all up, how you maintain your village starts with our 4 points, man. You sit down with everybody and you find out what's the purpose? What is our purpose in building this togetherness? What is our purpose in building this village and making sure we persevere? Is it for legacy? Is for our kids to be raised together? Is it to start, something incredible so it can keep on blossoming and it can grow? And before you know it, we on one side of the world and we're building something very strong and something that can stand the test of time. Whatever the reason is, dedicate your life to it. Don't do it on a short-term basis. Make sure it's a long-term plan and make sure that you're strongly accepting of it and you're willing to wake up every day dedicated to it, no matter what's going on in life. Disregard your ego and focus on progress in the plan. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. We sit down, we come to agreements, we make a plan, we set a foundation, and we start building our house on that foundation. If you are a person that feels trapped by plans and agreements and commitments and progress, then you're not ready for relationships. You're ready to jump in people's lives and jump out. You're a single entity. And that's where you should remain, a single entity. Don't join a group and now you're like, oh, the group is forcing you to do X, Y, and Z. No, commitments means that you have to do some things that you promised to do. That's what a commitment is. And now, have honest discussions. Hold people accountable. It's important to have honest discussions. Talk about whatever you want to talk about whenever you want to talk about it. But understand that's coming back from the other person's mouth too.
Absolutely.
They're going to respond the way they're going to respond to whatever you have to say. Stick around for the dialogue, have the discussion. Like the second point, leave your ego to the side. Understand where they're coming from. Have them, understand where you're coming from and come to agreements where y'all can have a full understanding of where each other's coming from and y'all can make, y'all have a solution and y'all can hold each other accountable based on that solution. In depth, like let's discuss it so we can preserve life. Let's remember, though we feel like, minutes are easy, seconds are easy, hours are easy, days go by, they're valuable. They're the currency we have. Money was invented. Time was forever. It's infinite. You know what I mean? So when everybody talks about man-made, everything's man-made but time and death.
Absolutely.
We even make life together. So just think about it. If you're not willing to invest in your time and willing to put your time to good use, then don't look at death and be like, damn, I have all these regrets. Live a life where you have no regrets and you put your all into your relationship. So when you look around you or you're looking at, you're staring at death and you're like, well, I lived an amazing life where other people can't understand where you're ready. You're ready to go. Why? Because you lived the life and you did everything and accomplished everything possible. And you're looking around you and you have everybody in your life that made your life worth living. So keep that in mind. It's easy to talk about death when you have a life worth living.
Absolutely.
So, it's 10 o'clock. This has been another Let's Talk Relationships with the Love Snobs.
Yeah, if you come across this, comment, let us know your thoughts, share, and stay tuned for the next one. We'll be on in 2 weeks.
Definitely. So enjoy. And we're going to keep doing this regardless of who comes up, who shows up. We just want people to have the, the platform to really.
Well, the tools and the resources, and it'll still be out there. So you could check it out on our YouTube page. You could check it out on our website. You can also check it out on our Facebook because it'll be on our Love is a Group Journey page. But it's a good reference, and the videos will continue to rotate. And once you stumble upon them, just let us know what your thoughts are.
Yes, I agree. So hope everybody enjoys their night, and I hope all the men enjoyed their Father's Day.
Absolutely.
All right, enjoy.
Bye.